I'm Vince.
And I'm Bob.
And this is Dead on Board Gaming, and this is our Dead on Board Talks little segment thingamajig. Maybe we'll name it one day.
Yeah, we should probably.
We should probably come up with an actual name. DoB Talks works, but
yeah,
we probably gotta come up with something better than that. Anyways, man, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was good.
Your week? I mean, it's Thursday. So
yeah.
how's
Wednesday.
everything?
It's Wednesday.
Holy shit! It's
Yeah,
Wednesday.
we're only a couple days in, buddy. Unfortunately, there's still more to come. But it has been a good week. It's gone pretty quick. I'm excited. I'm about to be doing the Relay for Life this coming Saturday. Hopefully we won't get rained out. So that should be pretty cool. We're going to be fundraising, and we're going to do a 5K and just a bunch of different stuff going on
Right.
in downtown Warden. So we'll be doing that.
Awesome.
We got to go to SCG Con this weekend.
We did.
We went out to Pittsburgh, got to play some games.
Matter of fact, we're both on the picture, on the cover picture.
Oh yeah,
for the
yes,
event
we
on
are.
SCG.
I'm in the background. You can just see my bald ass head.
But if you click, when you go to click on it, I think I have the biggest face on there. It's awesome. Yeah. So how'd the tournament go, Bob?
It actually started off well. I mean, not great. I lost my first round. I won the second round. Third round, realized that I was running an illegal card. And that escalated into me ended up dropping minor panic attack.
Right. But what happened?
Leaving.
But what happened? Like, because it's
Okay.
weird. It was a weird situation.
Yeah,
so I
was
kind
a
of
weird
want you to
one,
go
okay.
over that.
So I have a great fiance that also plays the game, and I got her to build the deck while I was working this week, and then we even play tested it. Me and Vince did. Somehow, none of us realized that I needed to be running Unmovable and not Staunch Response, which was the card that came to my head. So third round, my opponent's like, "Oh, that's a Guardian card," and I'm like, "Okay." Like I assume that's a round loss. So we call the judge over. They explain the situation. They tell us, "No, there's really no real penalty." I remove that card from the deck. I take 2 cards from my sideboard because I was running 2 of them. I replace those 2 cards in the deck, and then my opponent gets to choose where
So you
one
never
of them
actually
go.
took the cards out of your deck, though. Like, you just took them out of the main deck that you were playing.
Yeah, and we flipped them upside down to notate that they were gone, and the judge told me that the deck list would be corrected.
Okay. All right.
And that we were good to go.
Okay.
So then the next round, I get randomly deck checked. Non-randomly, random deck checked. And then they come and, like, pull me off the table and walk me through the entire hall to, like, the main desk. And I'm like...
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
They should have handled it. I mean, they usually pull you away from the table to tell you.
Yeah, but they like walked me all the way
wild.
to like the main desk. I'm like, oh god, did I mess up again? Am I gonna get banned? I've never intentionally cheated in a game in my life. Am I gonna get banned for cheating? Like I was having a small panic attack,
Sure.
and I have some anxiety issues as it is, but. Like, I was just like, oh, God, I'm going to get banned from this game. I've never cheated in my life. And now I'm just going to be this known cheater in the card community.
That much more epic.
But, so they pull me out, and then they tell me that my deck list is not correct, and that they were going to catch me between the rounds, but because our extension, we ended up going past the rest of the round. We had a 7-minute extension. So by the time our round was done, everything was ready to roll into the next round. So apparently they forgot to come get me, or they were unable to come get me and tell me to correct this. So then I sit down at the table with an illegal deck, and they penalized me that round. They give me an IP2, which is a death sentence in prison or us.
There's actually there has been like talk like throughout the community about how harsh IP penalties are, because they're basically a game lost in the best of one game.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to come back from 3 turns. I think it goes up to 4. So you can go up to 4 turns drawing 1 less card.
Yeah.
And then what'd you say it was? It's the maximum amount of cards you can't can't even.
That was the way he explained. Is my maximum hand size was 3, so I could not exceed 3. Is what my understanding was based on what he said.
You would be able to do it.
He
through
said my
the turns.
maximum hand for the first 2 turns was 3 cards. That was my cap.
Yeah, I think now that I hear it again, I think he was just saying at the end of turn, like even if you drew a bunch of cards, you would have to discard at the end of your turn. I think is kind of what he meant, and not that you couldn't play a card that would draw you cards.
Well, yeah,
in
I mean,
turn,
I could play my whole hand and then draw cards and draw back up. I mean, maximum cards I can draw is 3, so I would just have to play my hand.
Right, but what I'm saying is, did you think that you couldn't draw cards in the middle of the turn?
No, I knew I could. It's just a matter of how. It was. I couldn't Pursuit of Knowledge.
Right, that was it. That's
so I had Pursuit of Knowledge. Pummel, which is one of my favorite combos. I don't know why.
It's great.
I just love it. And people are like, I don't know if I've ever seen that card. I had one person tell me that this tournament.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
But it was such a hand shift, too, because he discarded a card. I drew to 5. So he's going into his attack phase down 2 cards.
No, I think those two cards in concert are like really good, and I'm actually surprised we don't see that more often. Like that's a Bob staple. You know what I mean? Like it's good. Like
I love it. Yeah.
Like you said, the parody. It's like it's like hitting somebody with life link. You know what I mean? Like it's not a 3-point hit. It's a 6-point swing.
Yeah, because you're getting 3 back.
Right. So kind of the same thing. It's like I'm stripping a card and gaining a card on that same exchange. Like, that's a very nice tempo play. You know what I mean? Especially if they threw blocks out. Like, if they were trying to block what you were doing.
Yeah, you might have taken
especially that. You know what I mean? If they were... Because most of the time, no one wants you to hit with Pursuit.
No,
right?
yeah.
Pursuit's drawing blocks.
Everybody full blocks.
Yes. Yeah. That was one thing I always noticed, too.
Yeah,
when
like, every time I play it gets full block.
Yeah.
Most people aren't just like, I'll just take the 4.
Sure.
Unless they have to take the 4.
Sure. Yep.
So, like that was a weird one, but my whole, like it just it got me flustered for sure. Like I went out, I walked around, and by the time I came back in, everything was over because everything ended at 2:30.
Yeah, which was trash.
I was so bummed.
That was trash.
I was gonna come back in and do like a side event of some kind. It sucked that there was no side events for Flesh and Blood Sunday, but apparently there were the other days. They just weren't.
But they weren't listed, which is a problem in itself. And I'm not saying it's a problem. I don't want to say it was a problem, but why not? Like I feel like the opportunity cost was so low. Why wasn't that something advertised? Yeah. And it's just little things like that, and it's not like intentional or anything, but it's like little things like that like can stop people from going to the event for Flesh and Blood. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm not going to go if there's no drafts, like, or I don't want to go play in, your couple main events, or what if I scrub out and then I have nothing to do and I don't want to play Magic? You know what I mean? I fall in the camp where I can go play Magic, not a big deal. I like Magic. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was gonna play Magic too. They closed that as well. So,
but I do think I wish that was advertised better. I mean, especially with the game being so new. Like it's just little things like that just matter a little bit more for a game like Flesh and Blood.
And in general, we didn't go on Saturday.
We didn't
because they didn't have Flesh and Blood, and we didn't really feel like.
Well, they had Flesh and Blood, but it was timed 3-round events. Not we could show up draft. Or we could show up an on-demand anything. They did have events. Like Saturday had multiple events. Like I don't want to say they didn't have Flesh and Blood, but the Battle Hardened, the big event was Sunday. That was like, but they had nothing else for Flesh and Blood on Sunday, and then they shut down at 2:30, which sucked. More for us because we just went on Sunday. You know what I mean? I think that's really the issue. Is we went one day hoping to get, a convention experience, and we didn't get there. And then, you know what I mean? And
well, I mean, I was out early enough that if there was side events going on, even for most of the day, because I mean, when we left, there was still multiple events going on. It's not like
right. So they were probably there till 8 o'clock. Yeah, you know what I mean?
At least
they were probably there late. And then I did 4-2, so I ran all 6 things. So by the time I got done, I had nothing I could do. I could not do anything. I missed absolutely everything, including a side draft, which was kind of sad. I think I wish they would have ran it to like 4. I know everyone's trying to get out of there. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. And again, that's me. That's just me being a little. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but me not being able to go Friday or Saturday is my fault, not theirs. You know what I mean? And everyone wants to go home.
But I feel like that last event should have been scheduled so that the main event players could do it.
Yes, especially when.
And I think that they actually probably did try, but almost every round went over.
I mean, sure, but no, even at 2:30, it's not 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. Yeah, no, it was 6 rounds. 3:30, they would have had to run till 4 o'clock without us going over to do what you're saying and like let people trickle out of that event and maybe do one more event before they leave. Because the tournament was 6 hours, let's just say. 50-minute rounds, a little bit over, 55-minute rounds. So, yeah, it's 6 hours, 6+ hours for 6 rounds. They were done an hour early. Like, they had no desire to let us do anything. That's probably why they didn't have any Flesh and Blood, period. Honestly. Yeah. It's because, like, everyone's that wants to play Flesh and Blood is going to probably play in that. You know what I mean? I'm just glad they had it, even though they didn't advertise it. I'm glad they had it on
Some
Saturday.
people might have scrubbed out sooner, though, had they had an option.
It's true.
If I had the option... Yeah. Because I was a little flustered after that mistake anyway. I mean, I'd never been in that situation before, and I just felt very uncomfortable with it. I'm a wallflower. I try not to stand out as it is. So, I probably would have gone, especially if I'd have been told the correct stuff, because I specifically asked the judge like multiple times. I'm like, okay, so next round is normal. Right. My deck's good, and he's like, yes. And then the next round came, and I would have dropped.
Yeah, which sucks.
And had I not been given the wrong information there, I would have been able to get into the 12:30 event.
Oh yeah, well that's also true. That's also true.
I would have been able to get into the rebound event.
They kind of just got you.
So it just really messed up my day.
I get that. That sucks. The whole thing sucks. I mean, all the way through. But let's go ahead and veer. I didn't have a good transition because I'm not a transition guy. But real quick, I did want to add. So the big topic is that Channel Fireball selling boxes at basically like $53 a box. I think is what it really breaks down to, and it's a hot topic. It is very bad for local game stores. I don't think anyone can deny that that's a true statement. It's not good when the LGS can't compete at all. When in a game that said that they were for you, and they gave this thing. And real quick, because this is something nobody's really talking about, but like over the last 6 months, Channel Fireball stopped selling singles, turned into a TCG player like marketplace for stores to come on and sell. Then, and I don't know, this might have corresponded with the thing with Monarch where they got in a little bit of trouble with LSS, and then they said I can't remember. They didn't want them to sell something. I can't remember exactly
Monarch
what it was.
Unlimited for like $40 a box, I think was.
It was something like that. And so they opened Card Shop Live. And we all know that is Channel Fireball. They say they're powered by, but it is Channel Fireball. And they opened that. And now, this is a huge issue that nobody's talking about because everyone wants to talk strictly Flesh and Blood. But they opened an entity to sell on their own marketplace, and they can sell cheaper than anyone on that marketplace. They have the ties. Every sale they have is better than anyone could ever offer you. And now they have a way because Channel Fireball said we're not going to sell. We're gonna open up this marketplace, but they sidestepped it, and now they sell on their own marketplace for cheaper than most people can do. Not to mention, Card Shop Live gets to go on all the secondary market apps and stuff like that, and they just hire people to run 10-hour days, which I get is open market type stuff, but like nobody can compete with that for what these apps are for people and like local game stores that need to make a little bit extra reach, side hustle guys like me that want to sell some cards and do it in a different thing. And then like they come in as this smaller shop, but they're not. They're a conglomerate. They're basically the monopoly of it. They're becoming basically Amazon of just TCGs. And they're, like I said, they're like cannibalizing the marketplace that they already wanted to do. Their sales are too good. Like you can buy a box of new Campana for $120 from our local game store, or you can get it from Channel Fireball right now and get a playmat, 2 life counters, 4 non-foil full art lightning bolts, a foil lightning bolt, 4 non-foil Path to Exiles, a foil Path to Exile full arts, 1 Soul Ring for free. It's the exact same price. What can you do about that? Nothing.
Well, I mean,
like,
I feel like that's always been a thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, the internet pricing, the people with no overhead are always going to be able to undercut the LGSs. If you play at your LGS, support your LGS. At least buy your first couple boxes from your LGS.
Absolutely.
But then if you are going to buy in bulk and sell singles and stuff like that, find them cheaper. Maybe Channel Fireball is actually making a push to become the distributor.
I think so.
If they can undercut the distributor's prices, then they become the distributor of Flesh and Blood that they've cultivated since the beginning.
So, that's it. Dude, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly kind of where I was at. And I know Rudy made a video about this. I did watch this. So I do want to get that out because he kind of said the same. He kind of said the exact same thing.
I did not see the Rudy video.
But he said the same thing. But like during the whole thing, I kind of was on the same page. It was like, well, if they're cheaper, just get them there. And Rudy made a good point. He's like, well, order your initial allocation, but when you go to re-up, go get it at the cheaper place. But, and this is all speculation, 100%. But I was thinking, what if LSS and Channel Fireball, were unhappy with the way that all distributors, and Channel Fireball treated it like shit too, but like everybody treated the product like shit. Distributors were holding it back. Distributors were asking for more money. Distributors were choking it out, along with Channel Fireball getting a mass amount of product. But again, like you said, if that was going to be the push anyways, you need to give people a reason to make that switch. That's kind of a reason, right? Mm-hmm. They had problems with every single distribution thing. And for the last however many months, you can go back to a lot of people's content that have stores, and they say distribution is a fucking problem. So what if this just fixes it? This is them doing it without them burning bridges with distribution. Mm-hmm. Like, they can't come out and be like, we don't want to do that with you. But maybe everyone gets sick of paying extra money and they go to the distributor that they want them to go to anyways. Mm-hmm. Not to mention, I can't remember who it was, but they were basically saying if people would buy a product like that as new players, and I think 100% you would. Not the first week, but if you're a month and a half in, it's kind of the same thing that happened to me. I got a month in, and then Channel Fireball had the sale for Crucible with the other products, playmats. That's how I got into the game. That was like my push, because I bought a couple boxes here, and a new set came out, and they're like here, and that got me there, and it was awesome because I was into it enough. But everybody's real fear is stores closing, stores not carrying it, and nowhere to play. And I don't think there's a fix for that. But I don't know. What do you think about that piece? And then we can kind of move on from it, because I don't want to get it. Everybody's talking about it, but I did want to touch on it.
Everybody that's worried about not being able to find it at your LGS and not being able to play this anywhere, go to your fucking LGS and buy something. Stop being a cheap fuck. That's my opinion. It's like, if you're worried that your LGS is going to close because they can't sell a product, buy the fucking product from the person who you're playing it. Like, support the business, and they'll support your gaming addiction so that you can come in and play against other people. That's the trade-off.
Well, yeah, they have lights.
That, like, if you got your
they have overhead. You said, they have an overhead that they have to cover, and it matters.
Yeah, and that's what it comes like. If you have enough space for you and your whole game group to play in a group, and you're happy with that ecosystem, don't worry about it. If you are worried about your gaming store being able to support a game that you love, buy the game from your gaming store. Yep. All there is to it.
Yep. Again, especially during the drops. When the sets drop is when it matters. Those are the pushes of money they need, and they want, and they expect. If, like, Flesh and Blood had this big 7-month drought. Look, if you grabbed a box off of Channel Fireball for $50 just because it was $50, you weren't going to buy that box. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you did. Like, my mom was guilty of this. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a deal. I bought it. Not I was looking to go buy it. Yeah. You just seen it. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand that, and I do think it is good. It is good for people that are getting into it. And if they're treating this as a player growth period, which they basically said, there's not a ton wrong with the product being there. You just can't undercut the stores. Those are the people you promised to support. Those are the people you promised to help. And then this is cannibalizing it. And again, we don't know what their contract is. We have no idea what's going on. I'm not saying anyone's like, you know what I mean? But it needs addressed. And like, I know they might not be able to say anything. And again, maybe they are just trying to be like, look, just follow the breadcrumbs. And we don't want to deal with 3 different distributors. We can get them this product for this price, which means you can get this for this price. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're saving you. Like, in the scheme of it, it looks terrible. But again, if stores switch over to buying them as distribution, guess who runs out of product? Channel Fireball. Guess where you got to get your product? The stores that need to sell the product. So if the change would happen, and that's really what again, this is like wild speculation that they're trying to like push out other distributors. Like, I get it. But like, if that was the move and they got to do that and the stores went there, they wouldn't be able to fire sell product because they already did it where it needed to go. You know what I mean?
But they're fire selling all their product.
Everything. They do everything.
And they've created a platform to show people how much cheaper they can give their product out to people.
Yes.
So not only are Flesh and Blood stores seeing this, Magic stores, Pokemon stores, every store that's already on their site selling product and seeing that they're selling it for cheaper than they're buying it, every person there is seeing that.
I did that joke video earlier this week, but if you listen, everything I say in there is exactly what we're talking about. They really are trying to choke out LGSs completely. And because, I mean, basically what Amazon's trying to do to every other mom and pop store. You know what I mean? Like, and again, this is going to come down to how do you want your town to operate? Do you want a game shop for you know, kids and nerds like us. Is that important to you? Because it's important to me. It's important to a lot of people, really. And like, and to take that away as much, and I don't want to get all crazy deep, but to take that away from a generation that's already losing so much, and every generation after, like, you can't even go out to play anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, or they don't want to. It's just different. Like, that's still a meetup for kids that want to get together and meet up and not be at home. And you know what I mean? It's still like a trusted place. I feel that way about both LGSs, all 3 LGSs that I can think of in this area. And if we go out further, I can think of more. I feel that way. Like, you know what I mean? My 13-year-old, I wouldn't have any problem dropping him off, picking him back up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what age until that would come up, but like, those are places that I would still trust for stuff like that. And I would hate to see that go terribly. Like, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like, just how bad would that sound? Like, think about that, though. Like, if they crushed it completely, like...
If they crushed it completely, there would be no reason for the physical cards and everything will go...
Period, right. It wouldn't even... You're right. Like, well, I don't know, man. There's still people who get together. Like, I would try to get together, but the problem is I can't. You know, I'm a middle-aged dude. Yeah. We ain't got time for
Middle-aged dudes eventually have to retire, or at least semi-retire from the gaming scene because life. Mm-hmm. Like, it just happens. Like, I'd love to try to make a huge push to go pro at this Flesh and Blood.
Well, me too. I wish I had the time, man. I wish.
But I'm about 10 years too old for that.
For sure. But I enjoy it, and I'm definitely pushing to play it. I push to play it as much as I can because I do love it, and I just don't want to see such a good game die to dumb shit, because it's dumb shit. Like, I get the little bit of unbalances, but like, I think they got it. Like, you know what I mean? I think they have so many other things that they had to concentrate on over the last, like, I just think there's so much shit that just happened that was just out of line. And I just hope they get it together, because this wouldn't be the first great game that, you know, bit it. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, there's been a lot of good ones that I've played over the years that have just lost out to either poor management or...
Right. And I would...
something weird. Like, one of the better games that I've played over the years was World of Warcraft. And it was just a very antisocial group of people buying cards to get these tokens, and they're just like, we don't need to produce this product. We just need to sell these random things.
Got you, right.
Like, the people that are buying this are buying it for the loot, but I really loved the actual
But that's what I'm
game.
saying. There had to be enough people. There had to be people that loved it. You know what I mean?
There were people that loved it, but eventually it got to the point where it was like 6 people at a card store.
Yeah.
Card store could move 10 cases of product, so they kept buying it, but 6 people showing up to the tournament, eventually they just stopped running those.
Yeah, that's fair. So I don't know. There's a bunch of worry. I think it's good. I'm still super optimistic. I think the new set looks amazing. I think they're going to make the moves when they can. Like, them not doing or saying anything makes me think that, just like most people think, that they're locked into something that they just legally can't do anything. Like, it's either a poor contract or whatever. And I guess you could break it, but you know what I mean? But, and someone pointed out the dates. They signed the contract. It was 1 year in October. So, let's say it's a 2-year deal. We probably have till October before they can actually correct it. But anyways, that's it. I just wanted to touch on those couple things. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
Say any other games you want to speak on?
Well,
I mean, there's. I
do want to say, May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
And check out our next video, which is going to be some Star Wars Destiny.
Is it?
Yeah.
You putting that up? You editing it that?
Well, no, I mean...
Hey, you doing that? You gonna do that?
Sure. I just slap it up there.
But yeah. mean, this will be the next video.
Well, yeah.
This is the next video.
I mean, after that, this will be the next video.
I don't know if it will be.
Okay,
Well, it might be Marvel
coming
Champions.
soon.
Maybe.
I could be a hand model.
You could be a hand model. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful hand.
It's beautiful.
Just one beautiful hand.
Just what?
Just one.
That's how I feel on Whatnot. Like on my hand model.
Yeah.
I found my hand twin. All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys so much. As always, thank you for being the best community in gaming. I'm Vince.
I'm Bob.
And this is Dead on Board Gaming, and we will catch you next time.